Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Last week, September 6th, 2016, it was an international news story that the driver of Vladimir Putin, the Russian leader, was killed in a deadly car accident. I put out a video a week ago showing that was a propaganda news story by the numbers, possibly foreshadowing something greater to come. Lo and behold, later that same day, another international news story would emerge out of Russia. One of its rivers would begin turning bright red. This story began late September 6th in Russia. It made international news late September 7th, and for all of the date of September 8th, it was a front page story that a river in Russia had turned red. And what I want to talk about in this video is why they turned this river red purposefully and what it has to do with the Gold King Mine river disaster in Colorado State last year. Last year in August, something very similar happened in the United States, and Russia and the United States are two nations with a lot of parallels, as I talked about in last week's video. In last week's video, I also made the mistake of calling the USSR the United States of Soviet Russia. I was incorrect about that. We're going to go over what its proper name is and what it has to do with this news story coming out of Russia. So notice the headline. This is from CNN. Crimson Tide. Residents stunned as Russian river turns red. Crimson Tide could be a reference to the 1995 thriller movie made in Hollywood about Russia and the United States up against each other with nuclear strikes, living out that Cold War. Crimson Tide is also the name of the Alabama football team, and as sick and as ridiculous as this sounds, I really think in part that the turning of this river red is a tribute to the Crimson Tide football team. As I showed last year, the gold mine disaster in the United States in Colorado was purposeful and was foreshadowing of the Broncos Super Bowl. The reason these things are happening is because the world is truly run by a one-world Masonic Zionist Jew world order. In Revelation, the book of prophecy from the Bible, it says the false Jews will rule in the end times. That is who controls your media. That is who controls your government. That is who controls Hollywood. And that is also who is putting on these sick rituals by the numbers from, reported deaths that are truly ritual sacrifices to the purposeful contamination of rivers to change them a color. So, let's start with the date this happened. September 6th, 2016, a date with 51 numerology. Remember the word conspiracy equals 51. So does the word federal. Think about Area 51 in the United States, known for conspiracy. It was also a date with 24 numerology. Russia in Gematria sums to 24. This news story coming out of Russia, where the river turned red. 96 is a very special number to Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Scottish Rite Freemasonry, the degrees of significance are 31, 32, 33. Add those three numbers together, they sum to 96, like the word Freemason. The date September 6th can be written 9/6 or 6/9. Vladimir Putin equals 69. This is the same day he lost his driver in the car accident. Russia in Gematria can sum to 24 or 42. S can be worth 1 or 10. Watch my How to Gematria video in the description to understand this language and learn how to do this in just moments. But S can be worth 1 or 10. When S is worth 1, Russia's 24. When S is worth 10, Russia's 42. 42 is a special number to the Freemasons, who are builders, who have the compass and square with the big G for their logo. The word Freemason is 42. They're builders. Architect 42, building 42, math 42, big G in English Gematria, also 42. When you add the divisors of the number 42, they sum to 96. The word Freemason, the small way 42, the big way 96. The divisors of 42 add to 96. Special numbers 42 and 96. This is why we get these Russia-related headlines on September 6th, 2016. So here's the picture of the river in the media. As much as they lie to us in the media, they could even be making this more red than it really is. It's hard to say without being there. If there's anybody who has firsthand knowledge, I'd love to know. You have to think about the way the mainstream media is. They put out stories every day in great abundance, and they know that with their stories, they have to hit different segments of the population in different ways. For someone who really cares about the environment, this story is going to cripple them. For someone who thinks that they're living in the end times and Jesus is about to return, they're reciting Revelation 16:4, and they're on their knees thinking this is a sign. But what people need to know is that this is being done intentionally, on purpose. They're not signs from God. They're signs from the madmen who want you on your knees with your hands folded, going to work, going to school, waiting for Jesus while they rule over you every single day with lies and tyranny, until the day they finally do destroy this planet. The world, obviously, very durable, just like we people. You think about how durable we are. We're not too bad ourselves. So anyhow, this story, it became big news on September 8th. Nobody really heard about this story September 8th unless they were watching the news on September 7th, late September 7th. This story, they say the river turned red by this town, Norilsk. Norilsk in Gematria sums to 98. And think about the day this story became international news, September 8th, a lot like 9/8. What it also makes me think of is how the Virgin Mary's birth is September 8th, the mother of Jesus. Jesus turned water into wine. Is there a little play here on that? This date can also be written 8/9. The word religion equals 89. The name Jehovah for Jesus has gematria of 33. Jesus was a teacher. The word teacher equals 33. In numerology, 33 is the master teacher number. They say Jesus performed 33 miracles. The word magic equals 33. The date this river story became international news was also a date with 33 numerology. For the most part, nobody heard about this in the world until September 8th. And a very interesting date in light of Mary and the way the people of this world are governing by the numbers with doing routine tributes that are mocking of Christianity and the Bible. Here's the gematria of the word religion, the small way, the big way, 5389. The day that this was an international news story, also a date with 53 numerology. Fitting day for a play on religion. Revelation 16:4 reads, "And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood." With regards to that being Revelation 16, Alabama, the Crimson Tide, just won their 16th national title to begin 2016. We'll talk more about that. The square root of 16 is 4. Here we are in the year 2016. So the river that turned red, it has this gematria of 144, which is another number straight from Revelation. The number 144 is used twice in Revelation. The number 666 is used once. The number 144 has a relationship with 666. If you add the first 144 decimal points of pi, the number having to do with cycles and circles, we live in a world of cycles and circles. The first 144 decimal points of pi is summed to 666. And these are both numbers from Revelation, the book of the Bible. The word time in Jewish gematria equals 144. Each day, there are 1,440 minutes in a day, the way we tell time, 24 hours, 60 minutes each, 1440, lose the zero from the end. Very special number here, 144. It's also a number that has a lot to do with death and killing. Rivers running red. We hear about that kind of rhetoric, those kind of words from stories of war. Rivers that had turned red from the world wars. And in the world wars, Russia, some of the deadliest places to be throughout. The Bolshevik Revolution, something they don't teach about over here in the United States. Look at this. Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, which is what USSR really stands for, has gematria of 144 as well. This signature mark of the gang. And what have I been saying for years? United States of America, Russia, run by the same Freemasons. That's why they both have nuclear programs, space programs. That's why March 11th has been such a significant date in both nations' histories. That's when they changed the capital in the USSR, St. Petersburg to Moscow. But they're taking us back in time, because what we are approaching right now, the people of this world, and I'm not here to scare people, I'm just here to wake people up to what's really going on. We are slowly creeping towards World War III. These people have planned out the future. They are executing it by a code. It's all about keeping the world on the path of an agenda under grand deception so that the banker tyrants who rule over us, the Freemasons, the Zionists, they can remain in power. This all comes back to power and control. And these people are steering us by the numbers. That's why I teach this, because if you pay attention, instead of just coming here and saying, oh, this has to be crazy, if you just pay attention, you're going to see in a day or two of applying this knowledge that this is real, that this is how all of your news stories are formed every single day. The proof is in applying what I'm teaching. How to Gematria in the description. If you write out the number 44, it sums to 144. 44 is the number for military. It's the number for kill. It's a number of death and destruction. And the Gold King mine disaster happened in Silverton. Silverton equals 44. Not a coincidence. That town, Norilsk, the small way, has Gematria 44 as well. Also 35, the reflection of 53. That word time. The river name in Pythagorean Gematria sums to 63. If you count every number up to 63, it sums to 2016, like the year we're in. Vladimir Putin is also currently 63 years old. This incident, it began September 6th. That was 31 days before his upcoming birthday. He's going to turn 64 years old on a date with 33 numerology this year, also a date with 53 numerology, just like the date the river spill began. The river spill similar to or identical to his date of birth numerology for this year, for his 64th birthday. And let's not forget what 64 represents. It is the number for the gang that is running the show. Israel equals 64. Zion equals 64. Thelema equals 64. Synagogue of Satan equals 64. This number represents the checkerboard pattern, very important to the Freemasons. Israel, a Masonic Zionist nation created out of this ongoing agenda that predates the United States of America, that predates Israel. Everything going on in this world is being executed by the numbers. It has been for centuries. This is what you need to understand. So from Putin's birthday, or from the date this river began to Putin's birthday is 31 days, 31 the 11th prime number. Again, the date this happened, a date with 31 numerology. Alabama in Gematria sums to 31. 31. Alabama's the Crimson Tide, like what the article said. Alabama won the college football championship, which was directly connected to the Denver Broncos Super Bowl, which was directly connected to the Gold King mine, purposeful spill. Here's what's interesting about 16. Alabama Crimson Tide won their 16th college championship this year. 16 has Gematria of 96. 16 also has Gematria of 42, like the number we talked about, as well as 33. 16, a very special number. Alabama wins their 16th football championship to start off 2016 on January 11th. Their flag is an X, and X in English Gematria also sums to 144, like the Gematria on this river. And the way to understand this and appreciate this is you have to realize this gang, like I said, they've been working for centuries. And as they've been naming their schools, as they've been naming their states, as they've been plotting their championships, they've had it all lined up, what the bigger events are going to be. That's how it's easy to give tribute for them from a sports game to a historical event, because we are living out something planned, scripted, long in advance. Albert Pike, the Civil War Freemason in the United States, said there'd be 3 world wars. He said the third would be Christianity versus Islam. He wrote that letter 43 years before the First World War began, And Civil War in gematria equals 43, just like Charleston, where the Civil War began, just like how Lincoln, the Civil War president, was born on the 43rd day of the year, plus so much more. Right now, the current president of the United States is Barack Obama, the 44th president, but only the 43rd person to be president. He was elected on November 4th, 2008, a date with 43 numerology. He gave his acceptance speech in Grant Park, having 43 gematria. We're living out a long-planned agenda. People like Barack Obama, Vladimir Putin, they're just little puppets stuck in by the numbers. Obama's not a real name. Obama equals 84. Born on 8/4. United States of America equals 84. See my work on the supposed discovery of the planets. France, the United States, 84. The Bastille Day attack. The beginning of World War I. A lot been done by the same numbers again and again. As for Crimson Tide, it also has gematria matching America. Crimson Tide, America, tributes between nations, two Masonically ruled nations. Alabama defeated Clemson this year. What's so interesting is from the date that they won the championship, the Crimson Tide, to the date the river leak began was 239 days. That number of Jewish prophecy, Torah in Jewish gematria equals 239. Their prophecy is that the Messiah will arrive through the Golden Gate, 239. The college football championship was connected to the NFL championship hosted by the San Francisco 49ers, not far from the Golden Gate Bridge. That Golden Gate been put in front of our eyes a lot. The United States was 239 years old when both of those championships were won for college and professional football. This year the nation's 240 years old, but the flag is 239. Russia and the United States, both nations with red, white, and blue flags. Here's that movie, Crimson Tide, submarine movie. See my blog about U-boats in World War II. So many U-boat stories I think are complete fiction by the numbers. It's amazing. So much propaganda over the years by the numbers. Fear, 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 control, control, control. But anyway, you can read this up on the screen. Turmoil between the United States and Russia with nuclear weapons. Crimson Tide. This movie came out May 12, 1995. May 12th last year, 2015, we had the train wreck hoax in Philadelphia. May 12th, 1995, a very interesting date in numerology. Date with 131 numerology. That's the 32nd prime number. America equals 32. Super Bowl equals 131. May 12th, 1995, a date with 41 numerology. USA equals 41. 41, the 13th prime. Super Bowl equals 41 as well. Date with 32 numerology. America 32. NFL 32. 32 teams in the NFL. May 12th, 95, also a date with 112 numerology. Zionist equals 112. Houston equals 112. Super Bowl 51 will be in Houston this year. Conspiracy equals 51. This river began leaking on a date with 51 numerology. The powers that be, they put out the movie Oblivion, and it says that the Super Bowl in 2017 is the last to ever be played. I've now done a number of news stories lately that all seem to be tied to some disaster coming to Houston, or possibly to Super Bowl 51. I have a hard time believing they'd ever do anything to the Super Bowl, but you know, if they really do have intentions of kicking off a world war, I don't know if there's a better target than the Super Bowl. So I find it very interesting how these river disasters connected to football. You know, the day that this story became international news, September 8th, that was the day that the Denver Broncos played the Carolina Panthers, who they just played in the Super Bowl. And the Colorado River disaster, which we're getting to, was directly tied to that Super Bowl. It was predictive programming for a Broncos Super Bowl, just like so many other bogus news stories were. So check this out. Headlines from September 13th about the river still being red. Russian River turned red by metallurgical waste, Norilsk Nickel says. This headline had gematria of 511. That is the number for Saturn, the keeper of time in Jewish gematria. Remember, 144 time connected to the river. 511, 144, numbers that have a relationship through Saturn and time. The other headline, the same headline, if you break it down the small way, sums to 187, a number having to do with homicides, and the number directly connected to what happened in Colorado. So check this out. Here's Colorado last year. On the date of August 5th, 2015, supposedly a mine leaked out all this metal waste, turning the river mustard or orange, as it was called. Mustard and orange, both colors with 33 gematria. The Denver Broncos, who wear orange, ended up winning the Super Bowl. Notice that they emphasize the word devastating. Devastating has that gematria of 41, which we just talked about. USA, Super Bowl. This river disaster began on August 5th, a date that can be written 8/5 or 5/8. Freemasonry equals 58. It's Freemasonry running the show. National Football League equals 85. And there were a lot of parallels last year to the 85 Chicago Bears when Barack Obama congratulated the Denver Broncos for winning the Super Bowl later in the year. He said, "You guys reminded me of the 85 Bears." And I'd been talking about that all year, predicting what the Super Bowl was going to be since October. In Jewish gematria, EPA equals 66. It was the EPA doing the reporting on this. The river that began to leak, the Animus River, has gematria 57 and 66. Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible, the book of prophecy. We'll talk about the Broncos, how they ended up visiting the White House on June 6th. 57, though, is also the Super Bowl number. When you write out 57, it sums to the same thing as championship, the same thing as Super Bowl. This river was in Colorado that ended up winning the Super Bowl 187 days later. Animus River has that gematria of 129 as well, like Crimson Tide, like America. You know? Look at the parallels. Gold King Mine, 66. Animus River, 66. EPA, 66. Broncos visit on June 6th. The word gold, for it being Gold King Mine, let's not forget that last year was the golden anniversary of the Super Bowl. Gold equals 38. Colorado equals 38. Colorado's the 38th state in order of statehood. The Super Bowl was played February 7th, the 38th day of the year. The golden anniversary hosted by the 49ers, named after the Gold Rush. Just days before the Super Bowl, the Denver Nuggets lost their old-time veteran who invented the jump shot. Denver Nuggets, Golden Nuggets, just days before the Super Bowl, hosted by the 49ers. So here it was, from the date that happened until the date the Super Bowl was won by Colorado, 187 days later. That homicide code number again. And again, NFL equals 66, like Animus River, like Gold King Mine. Last year was Super Bowl 50. Super Bowl in gematria sums to 50. San Francisco equals 50. When you write out the word 50, it sums to 66. See how all of this comes together? Again, Revelation 16 about turning rivers into blood. We're talking about 2 Super Bowls from the beginning of 2016, or 2 football championships, the college one, the NFL one, known as the Super Bowl. And as I was pointing out, the Denver Broncos with the white horse, that is the symbolism of war from Revelation, the same book of prophecy. Revelation 19, the rider on a white horse. Then I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, the one sitting on it called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he judges and makes war. That was on 11-1. Think about how, the Crimson Tide, they had their championship game on January 11th, 1-11. Their championship foreshadowed what was to come in the Super Bowl. Both the college championship defeated a Carolina team, just like the Super Bowl did, major parallels. It was 85 combined points in the college championship. National Football League equals 85. The wife of Russell Wilson, the NFL football player, sang the national anthem to start the game. So anyway, just so you don't think this is all coincidence, let's really wrap this up. Hope nobody's left at this point because this information is crucial. From the date of the Super Bowl until the Broncos went to the White House, which was June 6th of this year, was 121 days. And 121 is a number of Revelation, so is 49. The 49ers hosted the Super Bowl this year. Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. The Super Bowl was also on the 121st meridian this year. The coordinate of the stadium, Then 121 days later, they go. Please realize that before the Super Bowl was played out, I was already talking about all this stuff, talking about the significance of these numbers and why the Broncos were going to win the Super Bowl. So I'm not putting all of this together just in hindsight. It's that I'm showing you something I've been documenting that's also been partly predicted by me. So we're just following the pattern, the narrative. And the only reason I know this is because I've seen that something's very wrong in this world. I've seen that the media's full of lies and deceit. And, I'm trying to put an end to it. This is me trying to put an end to the lies. I'm hoping I can put enough truth out here that it'll go viral and we can bring these lies to an end once and for all. But anyway, Denver goes to visit Barack Obama. That's a nice match too. San Francisco, where the Super Bowl was won, also has that gematria of 68 like Denver and Barack Obama, as well as 50, hosting Super Bowl 50. With regards to 121, and this being the golden anniversary of the Super Bowl, the periodic table, the abbreviation for gold is AU. A is the first letter, U is the 21st. 121. Golden anniversary on the 121st meridian, going to visit the White House 121 days later. How this all comes together is like this. Revelation. It says the false Jews will rule in the end times. And if you read about the false Jews, what do they worship? They worship gold. They worship gold. The word gold equals 38, so does the word Jew. Golden anniversary on the 38th day of the year. It's not hard to see what's going on. 196 days after this game, the 49ers and Broncos played in the preseason. You think that's a coincidence? 49ers playing the team that hosted it? The team named after the gold rush? The word champion also equals 79. Think about how gold goes to the champion. So, let's see. I think we covered it all, Truth Seeker. Oh, yeah, here was this. September 7th. Headlines. There's been a lot of headlines like this. U.S. jets coming close to Russian aircraft carriers. Russian jets coming close to U.S. aircraft carriers. I have a number of posts like this on my blog. The way they'll write the headlines, they so often code to the same thing as World War III. And I'm telling you, we are in a countdown to World War III. I can't tell you how soon it's coming. When I started this work in 2013, I thought 2017 might be a really big year for the world, coming 33 years after 1984. Again, United States of America 84, very special number to the gang. 2017, it's not that far off. And if you missed my video from a week ago, I'll link that down in the description about the car wreck. But this is really what's going on, Truth Seeker. All for the sake of agenda. Until next time.